The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined by my co-host, UPenn's finest, Danny Cole. We got another great episode for you guys today. The wildcard weekend just wrapped up. We're going to be going over, of course, the divisional round preview. We're going to be ranking the best quarterbacks available left in the playoffs. Then we're going to go over some NBA players who we deem untouchable. Before we get into any of that, Danny, how are you doing today?
It's a great day in Philadelphia. I always start off with that. But I'm actually going to kick it off right into my summit. Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Giants in a divisional round matchup. In all-time matchups in this format, teams coming in that had swept in the regular season and met a third time in the divisional round in the playoffs, 15-9 with battle, I believe, and with a over 600 win percentage. The Eagles are looking good.
Yeah, and a lot of the talk is, it's hard to beat a team three times. That doesn't
false.
That doesn't
it's
give
false.
I guess it's true. I mean, not really though. And second, that doesn't mean you should automatically pick the Giants. Yeah, I agree. My summit is actually the opposite. Daniel Jones, he probably just played himself into an extension with that great game against the Vikings, regardless of what happens this week in Philadelphia. So shout out Daniel Jones making him work with what he got. He doesn't have the best weapons in the world, but those guys are also making a name for themselves. Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James.
So, speaking of Isaiah Hodgins, he's lying. He's lying out of his mind. He said they used to watch Daniel Jones film on the Bills.
Yeah, no shot.
They were not watching him and be like, wow, he's a generational talent quarter. Come on, man. You got Josh Allen in your quarterback room. You were not doing that.
Yeah, no, nobody was. Yeah, I guess I'll just bump right. I'll bump right to my plummet. I guess it'll be Tom Brady. He came back for a whole another year, just to be entirely mediocre. Not himself, but at least his team was.
Bro had 70 pass attempts.
Yeah, and his team was very bad, and he was the only bright spot on the squad. And they get blown out in the wild card to a team he's never lost to before. And I truly think this might be the last time we saw Tom Brady.
Nah, he come back. He won't go out like that.
Where's he going?
Yo, you know how
what's the difference in going out like that and going out in the divisional round? Because to him, it's just not winning the Super Bowl.
All right, I agree. You know how when he left New England, he's like, dang, you could tell he wasn't going to retire, but he's done with that place.
Yeah.
When they lost to the Titans in the playoffs.
Yeah. I
feel like it's the same thing here. He feels like he's done with Tampa, but we don't know if he's going to he's old enough where he'll just say, I'm retiring. But same thing. He's old enough 3 years ago when he left New England.
Well, he definitely doesn't have 2 or 3 more years in him at this rate. Because
1 or 2 max.
Well, I would honestly say 1 max. I honestly think he should just retire because unless a team is superly built right now to win,
the Niners?
The Niners literally have 3 quarterbacks on their hands. They're not taking Tom Brady.
You don't think Tom Brady's better than Brock Purdy?
Doesn't matter if he's better. He's better than Tua Tagovailoa. They're not going to replace him. They're not going to replace Tua with Tom Brady. You're throwing your 25-year-old quarterback to the side for an ancient artifact.
So Brady won't go here because he is smarter than this. Brady to the Commanders would be phenomenal.
Elaborate on that. I'm sorry, I had to let the dog out.
Yeah, Brady to the Commanders would really be interesting. You got Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. You got Jahan Dotson, who's really blooming. You maybe go get a tight end, and if you sign Tom Brady in the offseason, you got 2 good running backs. Not just 1, 2 good running backs. You got a really, really young, blossoming D-line. Man, I think Brady to the Commanders, if he wants to open his eyes and say, where can I play, that division would really become the NFC beast.
His best option would be the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
I would honestly believe it's the Jets or nothing. It would be the Jets or nothing because if he goes to Washington, not only would he not win the division, he might not even make the playoffs. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I
the
agree with
AFC
that.
East isn't much easier, but the Jets are a lot better of a squad. But
Washington has some great talent on their defense.
they are not better
Chase
than the
Young,
Jets.
you're right. Chase Young is getting healthy though, which is a good sign to look out for.
I mean, he played like what, 2 games?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Best quarterbacks available, and it's kind of, I think it's kind of like a 3-tier type of thing. We start with the back end tier, where I guess you could say serviceable to good, which is Purdy and Daniel Jones. I think we comfortably have them two comfortably behind everyone else. We were talking like who, me and Danny were talking yesterday, who has been better, like Purdy or Jones, and we've seen more of Jones, so maybe we might be swayed a little bit to Purdy's, you know, uh, Mr. Irrelevant extravaganza that he's been putting on, but um, I think Daniel Jones has been pretty good the last month of the season. So
Yeah, definitely.
I'd personally go with him.
I go Purdy's the worst. DJ's above him. Purdy, people are like, oh, he had 300 passing yards. Nobody cares. He's throwing to Deebo Samuel on a 5-yard check down that takes 75-yard touchdown. Wow, I think Daniel Jones could do that too. He actually did do it, and guess what? Darius Slayton dropped it.
Yeah, that would have put the game away. Then that's tough. But yeah, I think we go firmly Purdy then Jones there. No disrespect to Purdy, he's been balling out. Given his situation. He's not I mean, you are asking to throw to these weapons, but you mean he didn't ask to be here. So he's playing good. I think Daniel Jones is playing a little better. I think his pocket presence really wowed me against the Vikings. Moving on to the next group of quarterbacks.
Tier. It's like a tier.
Yeah, I guess you would say tier. I think this is like great on the verge of being elite.
Man, if we're looking at here, one thing we need to say before we even move further, all of the teams in the playoffs have an elite quarterback except for a few. Like most of these teams remaining, these top 8, have an elite quarterback. So what this really wants to say is if you want to make it far in the playoffs, get yourself a quarterback that can sling the rock. And yeah, I said Dak Prescott is a borderline elite quarterback because he is. He gets a lot of slander for, oh my gosh, he has so many weapons. He has CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz and a good run game. He has no wide receiver too.
Jimmy Garoppolo was on the verge of winning the Super Bowl, so it's not really about a good quarterback; it's about a cheap one, or just managing your money right, having a good all-around team. Unless you're the Chiefs, but I would say good, very great to on the verge of being elite quarterbacks. Got 3 right here. Pretty sure this one's going to be obvious. Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, and Jalen Hurts are, I think, in that next tier.
Jalen Hurts, that tier.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is probably the top of that tier due to his dual threat game. His deep ball accuracy has been absolutely amazing this year. Obviously, I'm very impressed with Trevor Lawrence's growth. Pocket presence is still wowing. His accuracy issues are getting fixed by the week, and we just saw Dak Prescott put on a clinic for the nation against the Buccaneers defense.
Someone told me, I was like, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is like very similar to Peyton Manning. Like Trevor Lawrence is so much more athletic than Peyton Manning. I was like, yo, you're disrespecting. Peyton Manning used to be a little athletic when he was younger.
No, you don't. Anyway,
he had a little bit of athleticism.
No, you don't. No. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, Peyton
Manning. He is much athletic than him, but like, come on now. Like Peyton had a little bit of athleticism. They're acting like he's some like statue Carson Strong type of guy.
He is. He's a statue. That's why you at least 3 times a year will see that bootleg he ran against the Cowboys because no one would have ever saw it coming because he is a dinosaur.
Well, he was also on the Broncos then.
But speaking of bootlegs, sneaky bootlegs, Dak did one, and Dak can move. Dak played very well. He made Michael Gallup look very serviceable. Who would have ever thought? Him and the tight end were working well. CeeDee Lamb obviously going to work. CeeDee Lamb is definitely got my vote for top 10 receiver. He's really been balling out.
I'm really split on Michael Gallup, man. He has some catches where I'm like, wow, how did you catch that? And then there's some catches I'm like, bro, how did you drop that? Like,
and that is the Mike Williams effect, unfortunately. But it's the number.
He's literally like against the Eagles. He had that one catch where Dak's rolling out, and he threw it to the sideline, and Gallup like somehow stayed in.
Yeah, I mean, he's either very impressive or very unimpressive. But common factor of all this, Dak Prescott's the quarterback. Dak's very good. And I believe he
Although
deserves to be
he
in
led
that
the league
tier.
in
I
interceptions,
believe
though.
he is one of the, I would say 7 to 9 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Very, very big fan of Dak Prescott as an Eagles fan. And then of course, you have your upper echelon, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. In that order for me personally. I would even go to say this. I would say Allen, Burrow, and then Mahomes is just like it's like up there. But however you want to stack
Man,
them.
come on, man.
What am I
I
saying? What are we
go.
saying? Come on for.
It's Burrow, Allen, Mahomes.
It's Burrow, Allen, Mahomes.
Yeah, it's Burrow, Allen, and then it's like a ladder, and then it's like a diving board, and then it's like another like 30-foot ladder, and then it's Mahomes.
Yeah, we know this. And the difference the difference between them, Joe Burrow obviously has the weapons to maximize his talent. And we put that on display. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. I mean, like it's a strong arm, but it's not like an Allen and Mahomes. But what puts him on Allen's level is he doesn't make the dumb turnovers that Josh Allen does because Josh Allen tries to play hero ball too much.
Here's the thing, though. So what I will say, out of all the remaining playoff quarterbacks, Mahomes and Allen are the only two that have their extension. I mean, Dak has his, but I'm saying of these elite quarterbacks, Burrow still has all of his guys that he got drafted with. He still has Higgins. He still has Jamar Chase. They're going to have to make a decision on Higgins in the offseason, which is going to – Tyler Boyd being there too instead of Higgins is going to change a lot.
I mean, they'll figure it out. When you have an elite quarterback and you have one of the elite receivers in the NFL.
Oh, no. Joe Burrow is certainly elite. He made some plays against the Ravens where he sat his back – Patrick Queen about to have him in the backfield, and he just escaped.
Yeah, he's a great escape artist.
It reminds you of what he did last year when they were playing the Titans and the Raiders, where he's wrapped up, and then he's like, where did he go? How did he get the first?
I think one of the most comparable things with, like, I saw some people comparing him to Mahomes, comparing him to Romo coming out of the draft. And I was like, the only way I see that is the escape artist thing, which I wasn't sure, but now I fully see it because now he's fighting for his life every play. But at LSU, he was chilling back, throwing deep, doing his thing. But
I'll go on film right now. I think Trevor Lawrence finishes next season better than Joe Burrow.
You know what? I don't hate it. And I was actually thinking about that the other day because me and my pop-up have a thing where it's like, I truly think that, like when Joe Burrow went number 1, I would tell my pop-up, if Trevor Lawrence was in this draft, I'd still take him number 1. And it's taken him a little longer to come along, obviously, because he doesn't have the weapons and, Joe Burrow's just cool as shit. But
Trevor Lawrence had an idiot for a head coach for a year.
He had a drunk. But I think they both play. I think they're both playing very well. I think Lawrence could maybe enter that top 5 echelon of quarterbacks, along with Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow, and Jackson's my 5 right now, and Hurts is my 6. And then I probably have maybe I'm looking at Lawrence, Dak, Kyler Murray right there. But Lawrence is really coming on strong. He could be one of these elite quarterbacks very, very soon. So yeah, those are our quarterback rankings. Our quarterback rankings.
Jalen Hurts year 3.
Jalen Hurts year 3. I mean, he only gets better.
AJ Brown.
He's Devontae Smith. He's Dallas Goedert.
Tua Tagovailoa. He's going into his. Wait,
I'll take any quarterback I just named over.
You got Tyreek.
With all due respect.
And then you got Trevor Lawrence getting a guy that people are forgetting about,
Calvin Ridley, who had 1,400 yards the last time he suited up.
He is one of the elite route runners in the NFL.
Absolutely.
People don't know about him. People think he's just some guy that got locked up
got thrown in the dog pound.
Basically, of the NFL. The NFL suspended him for a year because he threw $1,000 on the Falcons, which is just a bad bet, if you ask me.
Yeah, he was just giving away money to the government. So, I mean, why suspend him? He's helping the cause. But Our playoff QBs from bottom to top, we got Purdy, Jones. I would personally go Lawrence, Dak, then Jalen, and then I would go.
For me, but
it's close. I mean, Dak's been doing this for a long time, man. And then I would go Burrow, Allen, Patrick Mahomes himself. Now, moving on to actually talking about these, players' teams, we got a divisional round preview. We talked a little bit about the Eagles-Giants game. I don't think it's going to be a wash in the Eagles' way. I just don't think the Giants are going to add up well because the Eagles lead the league in sacks.
Yo, shout out the law firm giving away the $10,000 experience. If you're hearing us,
yeah, if you're hearing us, I please hear our plead. It's because I live there. But anyway, with the Eagles Giants,
college students,
Eagles
we will cover
Giants,
the game.
Eagles Giants. I just want to keep it like kind of short and sweet. I mean, the Eagles get pressure. Daniel Jones had no pressure last time. And a lot of people want to look back to that last game they played. It's like, oh well, the backups put a good fight. I'm like, how about you look at the game before that, where all the starters played, and the Eagles didn't have Avonte Maddox, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Dallas Goedert, and they whooped these dudes, put up 48 on their head. I'm picking the Eagles pretty comfortably here.
Yo, do you remember when the Eagles beat the Giants a couple years ago when Lane Johnson got a touchdown?
Yep, that was last year.
This might be a similar game.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one for these dudes. The other NFC matchup is going to be huge. 49ers Cowboys, a age-old rivalry. I'm super hype.
One last thing I have to say though about the Eagles Giants. Shane Steichen might be coaching for a head coach job.
Yes, and so is Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah,
so is Jonathan Gannon, leading candidate for the Houston Texans.
Both of these guys are interested in the Texans. It could
Steichen
be really
interesting. Steichen leaves. I want Frank Reich back.
He probably will come back.
Right back, chilling with his guy Nick Sirianni. Come on,
they flip sides.
But but Niners Cowboys. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be good. I'm going to go Niners because that was my original pick. And they gave me no reason to doubt them. They had a shaky first half against the Seahawks, but obviously you've seen what happened. Purdy got it he calmed down. He started giving it to his weapons, and they took off. Dude, this is going to be a huge game.
So everything tells me it's the Niners. But one thing that I'd like to see, man, CeeDee Lamb's going to have a field day with these corners.
Yeah, I mean, DK had a game. He had a game against these dudes.
So here's my thing, right? I'll tell you this. Zeke and Pollard, they're probably not going to be able to run the ball that well. They need to get the ball out quick, throw the checkdowns. And Dalton Schultz is probably the X factor in this game. If he can win routes against Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, the Cowboys have a chance to win.
They absolutely. I would say it's literally maybe 50-50, maybe 55-45, something like that.
Well, in my game picks last week, I got the Chargers. I got both 4-5 games wrong, which is it's toss-ups.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Exactly.
I mean,
we both picked the Giants to win.
We were almost screwed when the Dolphins almost won. So, we both picked Chargers wrong. Is what it is. I think I got everything else right, but
yep.
The script writers. It's the script writers that screwed it up for me. Oh, the Golden Boy, 27-point comeback. Come on, I can't win. But the script writers are cooking in the NFC when the Eagles Cowboys meet up for that NFC Championship game. They split the games this year. Both quarterbacks didn't play in both games. It's going to be Hurts versus Dak for a trip to the Super Bowl. It's going to be fire. But moving on to the AFC, we have Chiefs Jags on a Saturday, where Trevor Lawrence has never lost until now. He's go. If Patrick Mahomes, if anybody else was the quarterback for the Chiefs, I think I'd take anybody against them. But Patrick Mahomes gives them a fighting chance. They're number one seed for a reason. Unclear. Juju's gonna be there. Juju's gonna be there. We're good. I remember he got a nasty hit. I honestly don't keep up with the Chiefs to remember if he came back for the end of the year, but I'm gonna take Chiefs comfortably here. Jags gonna put up a good fight. If they win, it's because the script writers are cooking.
I'll tell you this. Everything in my soul wants to take the Jags. I think Jaguars. So it all comes down to is does Patrick Mahomes turn the ball over?
No.
If he doesn't turn the ball over, they'll be okay. If he does, this Jags team is. I think people underestimate how good the Jags offense is. Travis Etienne is faster than probably anybody on the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, but their run that doesn't matter much when the best defensive tackle in the league, Chris Jones, is plugging up the middle, not letting anybody go anywhere. Like, if Nick Bosa didn't have the year he had, my pick would be Chris Jones. Like,
Yeah, he's
absolute
phenomenal.
unit, dude. Absolute unit.
What's really going to scare me is the Chiefs secondary is abysmal, but I still pick the Chiefs to move on. The Chiefs, it's going to be close. It's going to be a closer game than I think. In the first half, it's going to be close. I think Mahomes pulls away in the end, like near the end of the third, and they get it done, as we always seen them do. But moving on to the other game, I think
this is going to be game of the year. This is going
game
to
of the
be
year. We saw their prior game got canceled that everyone thought was going to be game of the year on a Monday night.
Yeah, that game was heating up. The game was heating up. I mean, stopped for all the right reasons, of course. We're here now. Yeah. We're here now.
All I know is the Bills and Bengals are probably both going to honor Damar Hamlin at the game.
Of course.
He's probably going to be at the game, and they're probably going to do some ceremony for him. It's going to set up. The NFL scriptwriters got it right. Give them 2-3 seeds so they can wind up playing in the playoffs.
My original pick was the Bills. And after the Bills game ended with Dolphins, I'm like, I'm really not impressed. I might go Bengals. I thought the Bengals game's finished. I'm like, wow, I'm not really impressed with the Bengals either. But that's like a matchup thing, you know? Like, two of the best man corners in the NFL. Well, not some of the best. Two good man corners, Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, against Chase and T. Higgins.
Man, they're some of the best.
And Tyler Huntley was driving. I mean, wasn't thoroughly impressed with either of them, so I don't hang my head on any. I'm going to pick the Bengals to get to a Chiefs-Bills rematch. And I'm not saying this last part to like, bail me out, but like, I'm not shocked. But like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bengals won because Josh Allen's turnovers are an issue. Like, this is why Mahomes is at next level, because he is a gunslinger and he's efficient. Allen's still worrying about the little turnovers, like 2 turnovers gaming, you'll lose in the playoffs. If you play Teddy Bridgewater, you probably would have lost. Like Skylar Thompson,
that was
bad.
What I will tell you is this: the interceptions that Allen threw at home were his first home interception in the playoffs. He's efficient at home. I mean,
bad timing. Bad timing though.
It was really bad timing against the Dolphins. To be fair, the Dolphins also have, like the Ravens, have 2 of the best man corners in the NFL. In Byron Jones and Xavier Howard.
Yeah. So it could be a dogfight. But looking at my bracket remains the same. I got Eagles Niners heading to the conference championship. I got Chiefs Bills heading to the conference championship. The only knock on Danny's would be that the Jags would be in the next round, and unfortunately not the Chargers. So I guess you can replace him with the Jags. He's picking Chiefs to go on, which makes his bracket end up looking like mine. So moving on.
Except I do take Chiefs Bills in the Super. I took the Bills Eagles in the Super Bowl.
You did, yeah. Yes. I took Chiefs because I know this. Did I take Chiefs? I think the Chiefs. I think I took Chiefs.
You took Chiefs Eagles.
I did take Chiefs because the scriptwriters are cooking. They want Andy Reid versus his former team.
They want Doug Peterson versus former team.
NBA untouchable players. I was cooking on the way home. I think I got 8 in mind. 8 guys that these franchises would be like, I wouldn't trade these for nobody. I don't know if these are up for, like, these could be up for debate. I don't know, depending on age things. So I got 4 in the West. I got 4 in the East. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, the league's never been this stacked. I don't care. There has not been 8 players at one time that have an argument for the best player in the world right now. Never. Tatum, a little bit lesser of an argument than the other guys, but I mean, shit. In the West alone, let's start in the West alone. Steph Curry, hell no. You couldn't give him you couldn't give the Warriors Moses. They're not getting rid of him. Arguably best player in the world. Agree?
I agree.
Nikola Jokic. You want to go Luka? All right, we'll go Luka. No shot. No shot. Unless he requested a trade, no shot. And what would you have to give up to get a Luka Doncic in his prime? 10 first-round picks or something? Like, and your best player and your second best, like, dude, no shot.
Wait, you think they would take if the Sixers offered Embiid and Maxey? You think they take it?
No. Well, the Sixers would take it. But see, we're
No,
getting
I'm,
to that.
I'm
Like
saying,
these dudes
yeah.
most likely won't be traded for each other. So I'm trying to leave that out of it. But and then we got Jokic, probably the best player in the world right now. Like at this very moment, I believe he's the best player in the world. He just dropped a 36-point triple-double on one miss. That one miss was the three. Oh, well. And then we move on to Joel. And then we got one more West person and LeBron James. And the only reason he's the most
I
tradable out
disagree.
of these dudes.
LeBron is not. He is not untouchable. LeBron is almost. He's almost like tradable. Like you want LeBron to be traded. And it's because of his age. Like LeBron is like declining out of his prime.
You could not be more wrong, because this man is putting up career numbers at 38 years old. He hasn't
That's
slowed
not
down.
what I'm
Believe
saying
it or
at
not,
all. That's not
he's
what I'm
playing on
saying.
one of the worst rosters he's ever played on.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying
You
that
just said you almost want him to be traded. You don't want to trade LeBron James.
No, the Lakers are not built to win, is what I'm saying.
I'm
not saying the Lakers
actually. When the Lakers have been fully healthy, they've been on the cusp of getting to the play-in. They're only 2 games behind like the 6th seed.
But that like at that, is it worth being on the cusp of the play-in?
Get LeBron James in the playoffs.
Okay, get LeBron James in the playoffs.
Get LeBron James and Anthony Davis in the playoffs, and anything could happen.
I agree with that, but at the same time, it's this year or next year, and LeBron's signing elsewhere in free agency. He's getting out of there.
Well, not next year, because he signed a deal on purpose to be there next year, and then the following year he will have the option, which was probably when Bronny's going to be draft eligible, and then he'll figure all that out then. But the Lakers got 2 years, and the Lakers are a winning franchise for that reason alone. You not winning as Anthony Davis as your one and only best player. Like you could win with him as your best player, and you have LeBron. But yeah, moving on to the East.
Who retires first?
Oh, you have a question.
Brady or LeBron?
Brady, because he's retiring in 2 months. It's over. LeBron's playing. He has to play at least 2 more years. Brady don't got that.
It's Jover.
Yeah, it's over.
What did Vince Carter say? I got one more in me.
Nah, Brady, your ass is going home. Now, moving on to the East, where I think Tatum has a little lesser of an argument for best player in the world as the other dudes, but hear me out. He's averaging 31. He's averaging 31, 7, 4. Best player on the best team in the league. And he's absolutely one of the 15 best defenders on the planet. He might not be the best player. He's untouchable.
You don't think Ja's untouchable?
No. There's dudes I trade him for. Because first of all, this team's an absolute unit and plays good without him anyway.
It is.
Also, I'm talking about the 8 dudes who have an argument for the best player in the world. So, and
fair.
Ja is not that.
That's fair.
Joel Embiid, untouchable for all intents and purposes. I think the only reason you trade him is because you're worried about the health, maybe. But obviously, when he's healthy, he's arguably the best center and arguably the best player in the world. He had a great game last night, 41, 9, and 3 with 2 blocks. And his Sixers got the win despite Glenn Rivers sitting on that sideline. Agree? I think we both agree.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade Joel Embiid. I don't think the Sixers would trade him for anyone really. Maybe in like a year or 2 when they've realized like the Sixers are never going to get out the second round. But yeah. And then we have Kevin Durant. He's Kevin Durant.
No. Well, other than Kevin Durant, I'm going to start off with Giannis.
Okay, so we're just going to skip Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant, we don't need to say much about Kevin Durant, man.
Yeah. But we don't have to say much about Giannis. He's in my regard, like right now, like Jokic is playing better. But if you ask me, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the world.
Run and
most
dunk.
Dominant. You could say run and dunk. He's the best player in the NBA, in my opinion. So, yeah, those are like 8 real untouchable dudes. Now we can get into some I want to get into like maybe 3 that are debatable. Ja Morant. The team's built. I think he's just the right guy, so maybe they wouldn't. But if the right deal was swung their way, I think they would do it. But they probably wouldn't because Ja's, culture. Actually, you know what? Bad take by me. I don't think they do Ja like that.
You know what I think
He
is
is. He is
untouchable for his
this.
team? You know who is untouchable for their team?
Oh.
Jimmy Butler.
I mean, the Miami Heat are just insanely mediocre. They've
Like
gotten there. Jimmy is their best player,
I'm
so I don't
saying
know.
the Heat wouldn't trade Jimmy.
Hmm.
Like these probably like you could probably offer a package and they might consider it, but like I don't think they would trade him.
I don't know. I think they would if they like really just decide to blow it up because I mean, they're just okay. They're just okay to me.
5 months from now, if he gets traded to like the Pistons,
It's gonna be brutal.
just quote me on Old Takes Exposed and get it over with.
All right, one last NBA untouchable for me, is a guy that like I'm like off and on is Devin Booker. Is Devin Booker untradeable? Is he untouchable? The Suns have been ass without him. Suns been ass without him. There's no doubt that he is a huge impact on winning with the Phoenix Suns. But man,
He's not untouchable. He's a shooting guard in the NBA.
he's one of the best scorers in the NBA. And he's one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. I mean, he is tradable, but you really got to have a good package, in my opinion. I think he's become severely underrated.
All right. I think Devin Booker warrants a very similar situation to Donovan Mitchell.
I think Donovan Mitchell. Okay, yeah, I like that. Where it's kind of like if you're ready to blow it up, yeah, we'll get what we can for you, but you'd rather not. Well, he didn't want to be in Utah anyway. But
man, Chris Paul is about to retire. He's old.
Yeah, it's almost that time. It's almost Jover. If we're keeping it real. Now, moving on.
You're ready? Devin Booker. Who says no? Devin Booker to the Lakers.
The Lakers have nothing for him, so no. Now this says which NFL player could play in the NFL, but that's not what that's supposed to say, believe it or not. It's supposed to say which NFL player could play in the NBA. I got it messed up because which
NFL player do you think could play in the NFL? Because I don't know.
We already did that last week. That's what I was getting at. NBA player. I said Jalen Brown.
NFL player? What NFL player do you think could play in the NFL?
I think Patrick Mahomes could, maybe.
Yeah, he might be able
to. But getting NFL players to the NBA, I'm going to try to avoid the obvious ones like the tight ends, your Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, like Nick Foles and Joe Burrow. They played point guard. They were like all-state point guards. I'm trying to think. I mean, you think like these dudes are like AJ Brown looks so massive, then you realize he's like 6 foot, and it's like, no, that's not my pick anymore.
Mo Alley Cox.
Okay. I mean, I was gonna try to avoid the tight ends because they're like
D1 ball at VCU.
Yeah, I'm avoiding the obvious ones. Like we know they could ball. We know they can ball. I'm talking guys like
I got you one.
No known basketball background.
Got you one. Nelson Aguilar.
That dude would be Kwame Brown. He can't catch the ball. He can't move his feet, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Come on, man. Doesn't have a post move he can put to memory and do 2 times in a row. Like, I mean, Aguilar, I don't know. He'd be hit or miss. He'd be like Julius Randle or something. Like, I think he'd be very hit or miss. A beast I'm going with. And it is gonna sound goofy. I think I would go Carson Wentz. Dude is an absolute unit, and look, his shooting is going to be very streaky. It's going to be hit or miss. I mean, this dude's either giving you 7 for 10 from 3, or he's giving you an 0 for however many. But the kid won't stop shooting. I'll take Carson Wentz for that matter. Throw him in the corner like PJ Tucker or something. See what happens.
Yeah. You know who I'm taking? I'm taking none other than the Australian man himself, Jordan Mailata. Put him at power forward. So
you're running up an all-Australian team with Mailata, Simmons, Thibault, Kyrie, and Patty Mills. That's filthy. That's a lot of size, especially down low.
Bro,
Good defense,
I think he could play the 5. He's big enough to play the 5, man.
Big as shit. He's taller than Ben Simmons, but you'd rather him down there.
He can move. He has good hands. He can play rugby.
He does have hands. He does have a post move that he could put to memory twice. But all that being said, guys, it was a great episode. Thank you for all tuning in. Make sure you guys keep showing the love, downloading, and all the other stuff you're supposed to do with podcasts on YouTube. And of course, if Danny could just if you do it with me. No, you need your other hand. What? Yes, it's over. If we were on the other side, this would actually work much better. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Danny, anything to say before we go?
Stay lit. Eat your veggies. Go Birds.
Eat your veggies. Go Birds.